everyone, I'm MaryAnn. I'm a visual artist from Singapore, currently in Singapore, and welcome to another installment of my weekly vlog series, Live Your Dream. So this is where I share what I'm learning in my journey as an artist, as an aspiring creative coach, as someone who is all about pursuing a worthy and meaningful purpose for myself, and ultimately discovering the most authentic expressions of who I really am. And I'm recording this series because I want to inspire people to also discover more authentic ways of expressing themselves, discover truer versions of themselves. And if you are on a journey of pursuing your dream as well, then I really hope that this inspires and encourages and motivates you to keep going at whichever stage you're at. And at the very least, let you know that week to week you are not alone, because I'm here sharing something that I've learned this week in my journey. So if you have questions about this, feel free to ask them in the comments, or you can also directly message me through any one of my social media links which you see in the write-ups attached to these videos. So this past week I have been doing quite a bit of reflection on my path and who am I as an artist. And for the last 9 months also I have been working as a voice coach. And I started to feel like, being an artist and a voice coach, it's like two different paths. And of course, it's not to say that you can't be two different things at the same time, but it's more of, I found that by, dividing my attention onto two different paths, I'm not really fully embracing either one. So being an artist has been my dream since I was a child, since I was 8 years old, and I really enjoyed drawing. But because I was discouraged from that dream, it took me like 20 years before I reconnected to that path of being an artist again. And then from there, I did my first solo exhibition. And so officially, I have been an artist again since 9 years, almost 9 years ago. And so this past 9 years has been a journey of ups and downs, and constantly feeling like I'm not good enough as an artist. And I think this is just one of my things, one of the things, the internal barriers that I have that stop me, constantly feeling like I'm not good enough. And so what I realized recently was that by, taking on a role as a voice coach as well, it's because I feel that as an artist alone, like if I only have the title of artist, I'm like not good enough, and that I can't make that much of a difference, and so I should go and like be some sort of voice coach instead. And now it's reached a point where I realize that I still have so much to learn when it comes to being an artist, and if I don't really put in that time and energy, and if I don't focus my attention in just one area and like build it up to be really, really solid and to become known for something in that one area, then I'm always going to be like trying to build two sandcastles, and then it's like, if you build one sandcastle and then you leave it alone and you go and build something else, and then the waves come in and they kind of wash away a part of that first sandcastle. And then, you go back to the first one and you build whatever has been washed away. And when you go back to the second one, you find that like the waves have again washed away part of that sandcastle. And so trying to do two things at one time, it kind of starts to feel like we're not going anywhere, because multitasking, we're not exactly built for it, even though we seem to think we are. But it's better to actually focus 100% into one thing and to just nail it all the way. Which then brings me to the question that I was pondering about this week, which is, how do you know what is that one thing for you? And for me, I realized, and it's taken me a long time to realize this, but I believe that being an artist is really like the one thing for me. And I still don't know exactly in what form this, being an artist is for me, but I know definitely for sure in terms of the visual arts, being a visual artist is that thing for me. Okay, I love it. The thing is, I don't know whether I love what I create, but I do know I love that process of creating through traditional media. And so I have been trying to figure out, okay, since I'm going to focus 100% on being an artist, then what is this thing that I'm going to be known for? And I know that it's going to take a while to get there, but at the very least, I want to start creating from a more authentic place in me. And one thing that I realized also is that, because of my feeling of being not good enough, I keep also trying to create art that I would think is good enough, that would fit into my idea of what I think art is supposed to be. Even though my experiences have shown me that, and other artists have told me, and even galleries have told me that, art is just whatever you want it to be. But somehow in my mind there's this fixation on, art must look a certain way, and so I tend to want to create art that looks that certain way, versus creating from a more authentic and genuine place. So one day this past week I was looking on Instagram, and I happened to see on my feed there were some posts from these artists that I really admire and whose work I enjoy looking at. And then it struck me that, these people, these artists, they are doing something that they love. And I don't mean like, they're an artist and therefore they're doing something that they love, making art. But I mean like the work that they're doing is something that they love. They love the media, they love the subject matter, they love, pushing that subject matter and exploring it further, and really diving deeper and deeper into it and really evolving it and shaping it. And that is what, allows them to create a brand around it, where, even though they may not intentionally create that kind of brand per se, because some of them don't exactly make a living off their art, but it's more of like, they love something so much that they just make it out of love, to express that love that they have for it. And that got me reflecting on my own art and realizing that, I don't know if I really am creating something that I love, because I think a lot of the times I'm creating something that I think would be good enough, for for people, for the galleries, for whoever. And ultimately I realized then it's that, if we are to create something that we love, then it has to be something that resonates with, well, the audience of one, which is yourself. And so that got me questioning also, what do I love then? Because if I seem to be, operating based on what I think I should create, then am I also operating based on what I think I should love, based on how I want people to perceive me? And so that gave me a new realization that a lot of times, love, the word love has become such a casual thing that we kind of throw around. So I'm not saying that, we treat love very casually, but it's more like the term love has been something that we use very easily. Like, oh, I love this TV show, oh, I love that dress, I love that outfit, I love that that artist, I love that actor. Sometimes, in fact, maybe most of the time, it might reach a point where, because we throw that word around so casually, we might actually lose touch with what we really do love. And I realized then, because when I started thinking about all the TV shows that I watch, for example, or all the artists whose work I like on Instagram, and I realized that, depending on who I talk to, I might say I love a certain TV show or a certain artist. But, if I were to really be honest with myself, I don't exactly love everything. There are only a few things that I do love. And when I really question myself, do you really love this thing? Then I start to realize that if I were to say I love something and then realize that I don't know anything about it, or that, like if I say I love a TV show and then when I try to think, oh, what happened in this show, and I don't even remember what happened, then can I really say that I love something? And that started to unfold a realization for me that unless we really know something inside and out, we can't exactly say whether we really love it or not. Because I think when we talk about the word, a big word like love, we know that it's more than like, right? But we don't know how much more is it really than like, because there's no like definitive scale. And if you've been in a relationship before or been in love before, you might also understand that love is more than just feelings, because after a couple of years being with the same person day in and day out, it's hard to feel love for them sometimes. So love is obviously more than a feeling. So even when it comes to what we love, even when it comes to our passion and what we really want to create for ourselves in our lives, then it's more than a feeling. It has to be this deep sense of drive or motivation, or I don't know what's the right word for it, but like it's almost like a drive or a will or a choice or a thing that gets us going, that no matter what happens, we stick it out with that one thing and we get to know it completely inside and out. And that's when we can really say that that is love. And so with this realization, things started to shift in terms of my perspective on my own life and what resonates with me and what is it that I really want and what do I even want to create. Because I really don't want to live a life where I'm just working off of what I think is expected of me. And instead I want to live a life of love, and I want to do what I love, and more than just I'm an artist, hence I do what I love, but really like create a body of work that I can say that I am totally in love with and that I totally love, and I look forward to going into the studio and making it every single time. Of course, it's not always going to be like that, but I mean, like, in the long haul, am I really committed to that one thing and to make that one thing the best that it can be, and to really, and ultimately, that commitment to myself as well, to make my life and to make who I am the best and the truest version of myself that I can possibly be. And that can only come from a really deep and committed and true love for oneself, for myself, for yourself. So if you have enjoyed today's video, subscribe to my channel on YouTube, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments, or you can also directly message me through any one of my social media links, which are in the write-ups attached to these videos. And I'll see you next week.